Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. Now to do another video. Now this is my 50 subscriber celebration video. Thank you for 50 subscribers. Here's your celebration gift. Now I'll tell you what episodes we're gonna review right now for Spongebob. A Day Without Tears, Summer Job, One Course Meal, and Gary in Love. So with that said, let's start the review. So before we begin off, if you're wondering, why are you reviewing random episodes, not the random Barnacle Boy episodes? Well, this is my channel, and I can have my own rules, so yes, you don't really need to judge the rules. And P.S., you can review episodes out of the marathon when it's your subscriber celebration video. That's my rule, my channel, so I'm gonna follow that rule. With that said, let's begin. So the episode begins off with a montage of SpongeBob crying in a very annoying way. Squidward's getting annoyed through everything that SpongeBob's crying. He's complaining, and next, we get to the scene. They're at the Krusty Krab. SpongeBob's still crying. And next, SpongeBob's crying also because Squidward became mean at him. It just trashing him a lot. And next, more crying. Squidward's annoyed. And next, tells SpongeBob the montage of crying before. And this montage is a very bad montage. It could have been better if it was just older episodes montage. But no, they decided to make the montage with just random clips for new animation with SpongeBob crying, and there's one shot that they're in the boarding school, probably they're in the bus, they're at the Krusty Krab, there it is on the home, I think. Yeah, they could have done something a lot better with this. So, yes, SpongeBob, sorry. So, SpongeBob bets Squidward that he can't go a day without crying. If Squidward wins, then SpongeBob has to do all the chores at his house for the rest of the year. And if SpongeBob wins, Squidward has to sleep there and SpongeBob has to sleep over. So, yes, Squidward accept this stuff. And next, there's actually one pointless scene for me where SpongeBob talks to Patrick. I have no idea why this sequence is actually in the episode. Maybe it's to maybe it's there to just tell some jokes. If they're trying to tell us jokes, it's not even funny. I wasn't really paying attention to what SpongeBob and Patrick were talking about. The sequence was really pointless. So the work is already done. SpongeBob and Squidward are about to go home, and next a really beautiful sunset occurs. SpongeBob gets hypnotized into seeing it, and it's gazing through the beautiness of this thing. And Squidward decides to tell SpongeBob how beautiful this thing is in order for him to make him cry. So SpongeBob's really gazing at this thing, and next completely shuts off. And next Squidward's back to a frown face. They go home, and next they decide to watch TV, and the news reporter tells us a bunch of sad tales. One is a sea manatee never got what he wanted for his birthday. One is a snail stuck in a tree, which is a callback there to the SpongeBob could fly, where SpongeBob saw Mrs. Puff's snail, who we never saw in episodes up, is stuck in the tree. And in this episode, a snail is also stuck in the tree, and yet SpongeBob never saved him. Though it's not really a callback. For me, it's a little bit of a callback to that episode. If you're wondering, where's that scene? Well, watch part 1 of the episode. It's the scene where SpongeBob sings a song about, where everyone's singing a song about SpongeBob flying. Remember that song? Yeah, it's in the SpongeBob Could Fly. Anyways, there's a sad news for Barnacle Boy fans. And next, SpongeBob completely turns off the TV. And next, Squidward's pretty much back to a frowning face. SpongeBob gets mails, and next, Squidward tells SpongeBob the mail, and it's from his parents, which is actually not from his parents. I think Squidward describes how sad the parents are that they're not with SpongeBob anymore, and also one of the mails is about his jellyfish license, and next, he reminds Squidward to tell him about that. SpongeBob, you can actually ask Gary for that, to remind you of that license expiration. Squidward gets another frown face, so he decides to play sad music, and next SpongeBob is about to cry, but he completely shuts off. And next, Squidward decided to tell him a bedtime story at nighttime. So yes, Squidward tells him a bedtime story, and SpongeBob's about to cry, and it's actually not the ugly barnacle. Yeah, seriously, Squidward, you could have actually told him the ugly barnacle. That would actually be a funny callback to Something Smells, a classic episode that everyone remembers. And then since it was so sad, SpongeBob is about to cry, and he's trying to hold it. Yeah, he becomes bigger because there's so many tears, and it's such a sad story. And midnight comes, and next Squidward loses, and SpongeBob wins, and next SpongeBob keeps crying, and the drain goes throughout Bikini Bottom. We see a shot there going to Patrick's house. There, him watching TV. There's also a shot there at the Krusty Krab. For some reason, Mr. Krab's still at the Krusty Krab. He could have left, like I said earlier, before. And we see the choirman from Choir Boys, which is also another callback to another infamous episode, Choir Boys. Yeah, the choirman right there. And the scene ends when SpongeBob stops crying. So at the end, they're watching a movie. Next Squidward gets sad, and next starts crying. So yeah, that was a day without tears. Sorry if I'm blinking too much, yeah. Because I was not really gazing too much there in the laptop yesterday because, we had online class and stuff like that, yeah. Anyways, what are my thoughts on this episode? Well, though I think it's a little bit better than Funny Pants, which is an episode that's not actually really good in the first place. This episode is a bit of an improvement. Sure, it's a ripoff, but it's an improvement at least. So, what's my rating? Well, so the amount of boringness and flurry in the first half to decent and okay the second half was. Unfortunately, The Day Without Tears reaches to the edge of 5, so it's a 6. It's kind of close to the mediocre side of season 7, but hey, at least this is not a bad episode. But yeah, there's more bad stuff to sit through in season 7, like Stuck in the Ringer or Big Sister Sam. Anyways, let's move on. Next, so we have Summer Job, a Miss Puff and SpongeBob episode. So the episode begins off, of course, they're in bowling school. Everyone's about to leave. SpongeBob is about to leave. Mrs. Puff is so worried. She decides to leave as well. She's fleeing from SpongeBob. And next, SpongeBob decides to present a note to her. And next, SpongeBob's clinging into the back of the boat. But Mrs. Puff decides to completely shoo him off of the boat. And next, he just flies off. And next, Mrs. SpongeBob's like, "Don't forget to read the note." And next, Miss Puff crashes to the Krusty Krab. And next, they meet up with Mr. Krabs, call back to Krusty Love. And next, there's actually a part where Miss Puff says that, "Are we gonna go on a date?" And next, Mr. Krabs like, "No." Yeah, they're pretty much interacting kind of like in Krusty Love, which is actually one of my favorite episodes of the show. Unpopular opinion, better than Graveyard Shift. So yes, the only way to redeem this whole thing, this whole same mess, so that she won't get arrested, is to work at the Krusty Krab. So yes, SpongeBob's there working, and next Mrs. Puff is seriously scared. And next, Squidward actually comes in. And next, Mr. Krabs shoos him off because it's actually his vacation time. So yes, Mrs. Puff's gonna replace Squidward right now. So Mrs. Puff is now being taught by SpongeBob on how to do stuff at the Krusty Krab, like of course the usual ones. They're the cash register, how to use it, how to work on it, and next, SpongeBob decides to pretend to be a customer, and next, he pretends that he is a random, let's say, Duke, and next, SpongeBob is repeatedly ordering different stuff. Apparently, that the Krusty Krab actually don't have like beans on toast, but SpongeBob constantly reminds Mrs. Puff. Yeah, in this part, I don't like SpongeBob as a teacher. He's just a really bad teacher. Because when you look at his eyes, sure he's teaching, but what he's trying to do is trying to make mistakes, and next tries to teach you that mistakes, and yell at you for doing that mistake. He's not really teaching Miss Puff. He's just pointing out like say random stuff, and telling Miss Puff that don't do that, and Miss Mrs. Puff gets angry at it. And next, Mr. Krabs calls Mrs. Puff out. So we get to the next scene where a customer comes and next Mrs. Puff orders, and of course, SpongeBob is proud of her. He gives her an award, but only gets a super survive for an award. But yeah, she has a little bit of improvement in one part. I forgot what she has to improve on. So yeah, Miss Puff is very frustrated with SpongeBob, and next, the last one is her trying to serve the food to the customer, but she keeps rolling in some pretty good slapstick on the barrel, and that's pretty much the best part of this whole episode for me. That's the only thing I kind of find amusing, but for me, the rest of the episode's kind of bland. And next, Miss Puff is tired of it, but the next shot is pretty weird. We see the opening is Miss Puff gets a crash at the Krusty Krab, and next, the glasses are breaking out. But in the next shot, apparently it's fixed. We never see construction workers. There's come on, writers. You set up this whole event, and next year decided to make an animation error in that event. That's pretty weird. Miss Puff crashes once again, flees to the car, and next she letters the note from SpongeBob. And next, the police comes and arrests her at the end. And next, at the end, Miss Puff decides to get teaching by SpongeBob on how to drive. And for some reason, SpongeBob's gonna teach Miss Puff how to drive, even though she already knows how to drive, and she has a boating school right there in the street. So why? What? Yeah, this is a Miss Puff torture episode, and that ending doesn't really make any sense on why SpongeBob would teach Miss Puff how to drive. It could have been say an assignment or something that SpongeBob would have given Mrs. Puff, but no, they decided to have another continuity error, just like in Greasy Buffoons, and they're in Big Sister Sam. In Big Sister Sam, Patrick claims to have a sister, but in Something Spells, he told SpongeBob he doesn't have a sister. They're in Greasy Buffoons. SpongeBob apparently knows how to drive, which is the same continuity error as this episode. And yet, this is actually a boating school episode. So, writers, you have to check again your notes, or you have to check again your script so that you'll pretty much know what's gonna happen next. Don't just instantly make a plot hole in the episode so that there won't be any more issues for the audience. So just check the script again. That's my advice for you guys. When making infamous episodes like A Pal for Gary, just don't forget to just check out the script again and see if it's good enough. So Summer Job. Is it a bad episode? Now, I keep saying this episode's bland, but honestly, this rating is actually a 5. Yeah, this is on the closer to Season 7's bad episodes. Yeah, this is actually on the nose to Spongebob, or bad episodes. But I have a few positives with this one. The scene in the barrel, I like the fact that Squidward actually appears in it, and next he doesn't say any lines. Mr. Krabs is actually likable in this episode. You actually like him in this one. And for the disappointment, the fact that they're about to have a role reversal, but apparently that's not a disappointment because they didn't really have fun with the concept. Yeah, just like Breath of Fresh Squidward. Come on, writers. Anyways, that's my rating for Summer Job. So let's move on to One Coarse Meal is up next. Yes, the most infamous episode of SpongeBob is what I'm gonna review right now. So yeah, this is actually claimed to be the worst episode of SpongeBob ever. Yeah, worse than Pet Sitter Pat, A Pal for Gary, Stuck in a Ringer, Choir Boys, Cephalopod Lodge, and a bunch of other episodes. Yeah, this is actually claimed to be worse than those episodes. But is it my least favorite episode of the series? Well, I'll do a video on that soon. For now, I'll explain my thoughts on One Coarse Meal and why people hate this episode and why I do not like this episode. But for now, I won't tell you if it's my least favorite episode of the show. Right now, let's review this episode. So this episode begins off in a good start where Plankton is now attacking the Krusty Krab. He shoots out missiles and next brings a giant claw and next a giant lion, and next pretty much captures Mr. Krabs and Spongebob, and apparently Squidward's not in this episode. So yeah, Plankton's about to go there to the formula place. And next, yeah, he decided to tickle torture SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs on where it is. Yeah, SpongeBob accidentally reveals the secret, and next Mr. Krabs gets mad at him. Yeah, while they're in the claw. And next, yes, Plankton's about to go there. Pearl comes in, Plankton gets scared, and next he goes to the back of the freezer. Well, for some reason, this is actually a continuity error. Why is Plankton scared of Pearl? In previous episodes, like the Algae Always Greener and Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 6, they have seen each other. Yeah, those episodes were actually episodes where they actually saw each other, and yet Plankton never ran away or ever got scared. But here, Plankton got scared of Pearl because they actually eat Plankton. Actually, that's what Plankton says. Here's another continuity error. Plankton states that these creatures actually eat their species, but in Bikini Bottom, do sea creatures actually eat other sea creatures? Is it actually real? In real life, Chum is actually grinding up fish, and Plankton's selling it to the fishes, and it's actually grinding up fish. So that means people are actually cannibals. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering on what is this theory on what's happening there in Bikini Bottom. Did people actually eat other people? Yeah, it's pretty weird. So yeah, Pearl takes Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob out of the whole claw, and next Mr. Krabs is like, whoa, I never realized that Plankton was actually afraid of whales. So yeah, he orders Pearl to go there to the chum bucket. Pearl says it's disgusting and it's one of the worst places in town. Kind of like Patrick's Rock. And next, Mr. Krabs decides to borrow Pearl's costume. And next, yeah, Mr. Krabs takes the costume inside. He wears it, and next, he decides to scare Plankton. So yeah, we cut to Plankton there running from the Krusty Krab because a whale was there. Meets up with Karen, tells Karen how evil and how creepy whales are. And next, Karen's like, Plankton, shut it. You're just probably imagining things. So yeah, in this episode, Karen's also unlikable. I guess Krabs is not the only unlikable character in this episode. So yeah, Karen's completely, let's say, bored with this whole thing and not protecting Plankton. And next, Plankton goes to his laboratory, sees Pearl, and next runs away. He tells Karen again how creepy the whale is, and next, yeah, he shows Karen where it is, but it's not there anymore. So yeah, we cut to the next day. Plankton's now there in his bed, and next he's now imagining things in his head about Pearl about to eat him. To be honest, this imaginary sequence is very dark. This dream sequence is actually very dark. You know why? Because Pearl actually was about to eat Plankton in that dream, and it was very scary though. Yeah, especially if little kids were actually gonna watch this. Yeah, if little kids actually watch this episode, they might get let's say sad because Plankton's about to be eaten by a monster. And next, yeah, Plankton wakes up because it was a terrible dream and cries. Mr. Krabs outside and next laugh at him. Yeah, then that whole let's say whale that scared Plankton a while ago was actually Mr. Krabs. So yeah, the next day, Plankton is very scared about this whale, and he's there for I think 16 days. That's what the time card says. It says 2 weeks. I forgot the time card because this episode kind of rarely airs in my country, which is actually appropriate because this episode is very infamous for having that one scene which I'll explain later. So yes, Plankton is very scared because a whale is gonna eat him. So he decides to go outside and lies down the road. SpongeBob stops mopping at the Krusty Krab, sees him, and next tells Plankton Plankton tells him what he's doing, and next SpongeBob completely goes after the Krusty Krab. Plankton's now waiting for a bus to come and kill him. Yeah, this is that infamous scene I was talking about. Sorry, I'm blinking again. Yeah, sorry guys. I mean, it's appropriate for you guys to blink, right? So yeah, SpongeBob meets up with Mr. Krabs, and next And next, yeah, Mr. Krabs is laughing while he erases Plankton off the paper he's about to write. And next, yeah, SpongeBob's like, Plankton's about to kill himself. So aren't you sad? And next, Mr. Krabs like, no, I ain't sad. And next, he makes these stupid, say things about Plankton that he's been my long rival, and of course it's justified for him to be killed. I mean, he's your best friend, and next, now you're gonna kill him. This is very dark, Krabs. I mean, when Plankton's about to trash his place, he doesn't really gonna kill Krabs. He's just wanting the formula. That's his main goal. But for Krabs, yeah, he wants to kill Plankton. This is very dark. He cut against SpongeBob, going again there back to that infamous scene where Plankton's lying down the road. That's the suicide reference. Yeah, I bet this episode is probably gonna be too dark for kids, and in my opinion, this episode will get banned. Yeah, kids will probably see this one, and when they're teenagers, they'll probably hate this episode a lot, like most other people. Because I've seen people put this one as their worst episode list, like Watch Mojo, or people consider this the one of their least favorite episodes, like Pie Guy Rules, or Mr. Enter, or a bunch of other, say SpongeBob fans consider this to be the worst episode. Yeah, worse than the Splinter in season 6. So yeah, SpongeBob meets up with Plankton, and next, yeah, SpongeBob tells Plankton all facts about Mr. Krabs. Plankton gathers all the information, and he decides to proceed with doing another evil plan. Forget the suicide stuff, and next he decides to instantly go back in to the Krusty Krab. And next, yeah, he sees Mr. Krabs there in a Pearl costume. And next, yeah, he convinces himself that he's Pearl, but actually, Plankton has never fallen for it because SpongeBob pretty much told him about it. And next, Mr. Krabs comes out of the mask, and next, Mr. Krabs gets caught there in a claw, and next, yes, Plankton's laughing evilly with a mime coming in, which was one of Mr. Krabs' biggest fears. I thought his biggest fear is losing money. Isn't that what his biggest fear was? SpongeBob comes, and next, yeah, he pretty much tells Plankton off, tells him that there's a big pile of whales coming. Plankton hides under a nail, and it's actually revealed that it was a projection. And SpongeBob frees Mr. Krabs out of the claw. And next, yeah, we end off with Mr. Krabs being freaked out by a mime, which is the appropriate ending for the terrible episode. Yeah, obviously, this episode gets a 1 out of 10. But about the question of if this is the worst episode, yeah, for now, I think the worst episode by far is Stuck in the Ringer. That episode was very horrible. That treated SpongeBob very badly and made Patrick one of the worst characters of the series. But if this episode is bad as that episode, don't worry, guys. Get ready for my top 10 worst SpongeBob episodes video coming up soon. Yeah, for now, just watch this review if you want to know if this is my least favorite episode of the entire series. Yeah, I would actually rather watch Home Alone 5 than this. Very bad, and I have zero idea why this episode is actually even made. And let's get to the final episode, Gary in Love. So this episode begins off with Gary watching a love story movie there on the TV. SpongeBob turns the TV off, and next he's about to go walk. They're gonna have a walk in the park, and next, yes, Gary meets a beautiful snail, and which is named Miss Mary. And then next, they pretty much are playing there in the seesaw. A tough snail or a brute snail comes in. Yeah, for me, this guy actually kind of reminds me of Biff Tannen because in Back to the Future, he's actually wanting to be married with Lorraine, but instantly George McFly actually got married to her. So this is actually what reminded me that that brute snail was Biff Tannen from Back to the Future. Anyways, that brute snail comes in and next tells Gary to move off, and next he's now in love with Mary, but Mary decides to shut off. And next she's more interested in Gary than this brute snail. And next, yeah, the brute snail is now getting mad at Gary. And next, yeah, SpongeBob picks up Gary. The brute snail is still mad at him. At dinner, Gary draws a picture of Mary even though she's not actually there. So yeah, Gary decides to kiss him. SpongeBob makes a dinner, and next, instead of Gary eating it, he's kissing it. Yeah. So Gary eats it all up, and next he's ready for bed. But at nighttime, he decides to search for this beautiful snail by leaving the house. Yeah, in this episode, I kind of wish that SpongeBob actually knew about this thing. Yeah, he only knew about it to the very end. But hey, that's just me. So we open up in the morning. SpongeBob wakes up and next sees the bowl is still empty. And next he sees a picture of Gary's beautiful crush. And next SpongeBob instantly thinks it's an evil murderer who's about to kill Gary. So he decides to find them by searching around Bikini Bottom. That's the subplot. Now I wish this sub. Now it's a good thing the subplot is short because I actually wanted this episode to. I actually wanted SpongeBob to be less appearing in this episode and more Gary, but hey, that's just me. So Gary goes there to the park and next sees the brute snail. Sees the beautiful snail, but actually instead of the beautiful snail, it's actually just a disgusting old snail with a ribbon on his shell. So Gary is disappointed that she's not there, and the brute snail comes in after Gary left. The brute snail tells everyone that where's this snail with a bunch of big eyes, and everyone's laughing. The snails, and next tells them that. And next, the brute snail tells them that they're on this list on bad snails. Yeah, we cut to SpongeBob still looking for Gary, and next he's still searching on town. We cut to Gary there at the pet store, and next he saw Mary the snail. He goes there, and next he gets caught by the guy who actually ordered the Krusty Krab at the lot. Yeah, the fish with that's blue. Yeah. That's blue. Yeah, that's the guy who pretty much bullied that old man there in the bully. Yeah, remember that episode where SpongeBob runs after reflects after SpongeBob? Remember that scene with the old man? The next the guy was about to teach him a lesson about not bullying others. Yeah, that's that fish. Picks him up, puts him in the cage, and next the brute snail comes in, and next they pretty much trash the pet store, and next the fish is scared, apparently of the snail. But come on, man, you can't just defend yourself, you know. And next he sees a shell, and next it's actually a worm. And next the brute snail gets attacked, and also his enemies. His members. Gary leaves off, and next he sees the car, and next he jumps off another guy's car, and next he jumps to his crush's car. And next the owner of his of Gary's crush comes in and scolds Gary off, and next we meet up with the subplot and the main story. SpongeBob meets up with Gary, and next now talking to the owner of Gary's crush, and it's actually revealed that Gary and Mary are actually in love, and next SpongeBob actually figures out about this thing. The evil snail comes in, and next they're about to fight, and next the girl snail falls in love with another snail. Yeah, to be honest, I wish Gary actually fell in love with this one, but I think it's just me. Also, there's actually another continuity error. There in the Great Snail Race, Gary actually previously fell in love with Snelly, which never was actually a character that never actually returned back after the Great Snail Race. To be honest, I wish that character was actually there instead of Mary, because Snelly for me was a bit more of an interesting character than Mary. Though Mary's a decent character, she's not very good in terms of her appearance and everything else. So yeah, the episode ends up with the brute snail and Gary becoming friends, and next SpongeBob is not happy at the end. So yeah, I like this episode. This is probably my favorite episode of this whole four episode round. I like the fact that they gave Gary a new love interest, and the fact that her crush actually fell in love with someone else, but at least this episode has a good ending where the evil snail and Gary become friends, and SpongeBob is still happy at the end. I kind of wish that SpongeBob actually knew about this from the very start, but overall, it's still a very good episode, and I'm completely satisfied with the direction for how to take this episode. Not the best, not the worst, just good. So, if I had to rank all the episodes, I'll tell you now. The worst episode of the week, or say of the 4 episodes, is One Course Meal. It's just a bad episode and a very bad soup, and also has a very there's actually a part in this episode of relating to suicide, which should not be in a kid's cartoon. Number 3, Summer Job. Still a big mess, but at least it's not the worst episode of the season. It's close to Spongebob, and it's close to being bad, but not very bad. Number 2, I gotta give it to A Day Without Tears. Annoying first half, good, decent second half. So yes, of course it gets a meh. And number 1 is Gary in Love. Yeah, to no surprise, this episode's the best out of the 4 episodes. Good thing this week ends on a good note, and good thing One Course Meal is not the end of this week. If it is, then yeah, this week is terrible. I mean, if it is, then this week ends on a bad note. So yeah, how's my rating for this for y'all these 4 episodes? Well, it's actually a 5. Yeah, this week is pretty much a 5 out of 10. There's only one good episode. The rest of the episodes are just boring, bland, and very scummy. And that's all I can say about all these episodes. They're good in their own rights. And some of them are bad, some of them are mess, some of them are good. That's all I can say about this week. So, what did you think of my 50 subscriber celebration video? Thank you for subscribing, guys. And yeah, are y'all ready for school tomorrow? Yeah, that episode is coming up tomorrow. So yeah, have a good time, guys, and don't forget it's actually the first 1-hour episode of the Loud House, and Loud House is actually has a channel, and next you have to watch the clips on Schooled. Yeah, little teasers. Yeah, if you want to know more everything about School, just go watch the promo and go watch the song promo on We Got This sung by Lincoln. Yeah, thanks for watching, and get ready for school tomorrow. Bye.